Good evening, lamb chops. How are you today? Hi. I'm excited. Let's get into this. Alright, let's see. Where did we leave off? Mion kind of threatened us that if we don't show up to school, she's probably going to break our ankles or something. Nah, she'll definitely kill us. Oh, hi. Yeah. Reina, still being crazy. Mion, definitely evil now, we know. Yeah, I think the last thing we said, or Keiichi said, was, yeah, it's not my fault, or it's not their fault. I'm not going down without a fight, something like that. Giving us some sewing lessons. Yeah, oh yeah, they put a sewing, they're like, hey, guess which mochi we made for you. And one of them had a sewing needle in it. Good morning! Yo, what up, Jose? Glad you can make it. Ah! Yeah, so we found a needle in our food. They're definitely trying to kill us. It's no longer just oh, I'm overthinking things. No, they definitely tried to kill us. So, we got that going for us. So we're just going to get right into it. Chapter 10. We already read all the tips. The sound of muffled footsteps stopped in front of my door of my room. A moment of silence, as if whoever they belonged to was asserting if I was inside. Of all things I should have been doing, I continued on with my restless slumber. I was very much conscious, but my body hadn't caught up yet. Even with the danger bearing down on me from just beyond the door, it was as if I completely paralyzed, unable to move. Without a doubt, this was sheer terror. In case you could have a gun to his head and he'd still say he's overthinking it. Pure copium. Yeah, you right. Please, just leave. Hey, why isn't my body awake yet? If they came into my room right now, then... Wah! Eh? I sprung to my feet and threw my covers at my mom, who was opening the door. Whoa! Keiichi, what's the matter? Sorry. I was still half asleep. I thought it was like 1 or 2 a.m., but the morning sun was already streaming through the gap between the curtains. It felt nothing like morning. Yesterday. I must have fallen asleep right after all that. And I should have gotten a full 10 hours of rest, but I didn't feel like it at all. My internal clock was completely screwed up, and my sense of balance felt off. I felt feverish enough that it was clear to me that I was still not well. Well, Keiichi, how are you feeling? Can you make it to school? I was well enough to go, but I wasn't mentally prepared for it. I was still plagued with the terror from yesterday. If I had swallowed that needle, what would have happened? Or what if it pierced my tongue? There was undoubtedly a murderous intent, but I don't think that's all it was. If they really wanted to kill me, then there were other, more certain ways to do it. They wouldn't resort to such a dubious method as having me swallow the copium coming out of this man. He's like, no, they didn't mean it, though. Meaning, I didn't want to believe it, but going that far was just a threat from Rena and Moan. Aren't you glad I didn't die? But next time will be a more absurd method. Like that. Something like sending a letter with a razor inside it would have been a joke compared to this. Did you make it to the hospital? Did you take your medicine? Yeah, kinda. Something about my mom's dubious gaze bothered me. She seemed more concerned about her son missing 2 days of school rather than him being sick. It was definitely mental fatigue. I wasn't really physically ill. It'll be hard for you to get back on track once your daily routine is thrown off. Come on, get on up. They say wellness is a state of mind. Thanks, Mom. He's right, though. If they wanted to kill him, they would have did something else. Yeah, true. I just a needle in your food would definitely have me being pretty sure that they're not okay. I'd heard that line so many times before. I was given an award in elementary school for having perfect attendance, but it wasn't like I was healthier than everyone. Go on, go wash your face. Breakfast is already ready. There isn't much time before Reina-chan comes to get you. Mom's tone meant I couldn't argue about it, so I had to give up on skipping a second day. By the way, were you the only one who got that bean paste all over the living room wall, Keiichi? You shouldn't do something like that. Your father was quite angry. I didn't feel particularly guilty for doing it, so I didn't have much of a reaction. Also, Mom didn't question me any further about it. She headed back downstairs after she was certain I was getting up. What Mion said as she left yesterday, "I'd hate it if you missed school today," came back to me and dwelled in the back of my head. What did she mean? I didn't even have really time to think about it. She was saying, "Don't be absent." Taking that a bit further, it was the same as her saying I should just go about living my life as if nothing happened. If I showed any signs of acting unusual, it would probably be a result of them making their move. For example, maybe, I shouldn't pay attention to someone like Oishi-san enticing me with something unusual. Bro, my mom would have grilled me over that, right? I wouldn't have seen the sunlight. Meaning, if I didn't watch my mouth or did anything different than norm, in effect, it would end up flagging myself as someone who was not wanted. And it seems that's something that the girls didn't intend to forgive. So if I just went along as normal, no harm would come to me. Was that how it was going to be? All that misery I experienced up until yesterday would almost creepily just fade away? It was an enticing deal. Just by forgetting everything I'd seen or heard the last 2 days, I'd be able to keep on living like normal. There's no way. Such a selfish thing could. I swallowed hard. I once again deliberated on the idea I just had rejected. Mion was probably a good person who had her friends at heart. She was giving me, who had mistakenly broken some rules of theirs, a chance. Was what I did really something so unforgivable? But Mion had given me another chance. She was saying, if I just forgot everything and kept living like I had been before, I'd be forgiven. Keiichi, your food's gonna get cold. Hurry up and get down here. Reina will be here if you don't hurry. Ah, I'm coming. I crammed my textbooks in my bag and hastily made my way downstairs. I picked at somewhat bland breakfast. It seemed that I didn't have much time. I was already past when I usually met up with Reina. Given yesterday's events, she'd probably be there in the next 5 minutes. I needed to be ready to head to school by then. I had to forget everything that had happened the past 2 days. Forget it all and return to my normal life. For this to be normal, I have to be where I normally meet up with Reina. Today of all days, the rice was dry and I had to get down. I jumped at the sound and dropped my chopsticks. That chime signaled that Reina had arrived. Mom hurried me along. Come on, Reina-chan's already here. Hurry up. Mother's merry smile and my gloomy face were polar opposites. Honestly, I was reluctant to see Reina, who was waiting there on the other side of the door. The Reina on the other side. Was it the Reina I knew? I couldn't keep her waiting. I needed to do things as usual. Morning! An invigorating greeting filled across the doorway. I came since Keiichi-kun was a bit late. Will he be okay today, I wonder? The manner in which Reina was concerned was, without a doubt, the Reina I knew. That was probably only as I replicated it. Forget everything from yesterday. Pretend as if nothing had happened. Forget about the gruesome dismemberment. Forget about the mysterious deaths that had happened these following years. Forget about the people falling to their death, the terminal illness and suicide, the lynching, the disappearances. Forget it. Forget all of it. Forget that Reina and Mion were scary. Of course, forget it all. Forget about everyone. Forget about the mochi. Forget it. Forget. Reina once again asked me to make sure. Can you make it to school? Yeah, I'm fine. Great! Then let's go. Mi-chan's waiting. Reina showed me her usual bright smile. I couldn't find any hint of dissent in her expression. My nervousness dissipated, giving way to relief. But you see, Satoko-chan was insistent that she could do it. As we were walking, Reina talked about different stuff, more than usual. Then? Satoko-chan is clumsy. She failed no matter how many times she tried. She was so cute. Everything Reina talked about was just silly nonsense, so I just replied every so often with a laugh from time to time. It was rather laid-back conversation. We passed by one of our neighbors as they called out to us. Oh my, Keiichi-chan and Reina-chan, aren't you two a bit late today? Mion-chan said she was going to go up ahead. Uh-oh, did Mi-chan look mad? I wonder. We need to hurry up, Keiichi-kun. As we smiled and parted ways with our neighbor, they turned back towards us and stuck out a tongue. Not expecting that, I couldn't help but crack a smile. Keiichi-kun, you smiled! Huh? What? Reina stopped and stared at me. I was thinking you still hadn't recovered from your cold since you seemed so down this morning, Keiichi-kun. But you seem fine. Fine. With a grin, she gently poked my cheek. It was a bright, sincere smile. Hey, Keiichi Maibara. How can you still doubt Reina after she shows you a smile like that? Maybe I just had a high fever until the day, and I imagined everything, and that's what happened because I was bedridden and delirious? I really hoped that was the case. Oh my god. If God would grant me just one wish, there's only one thing I would wish for. I would want that what happened in the past few days. More specifically, from the night of Watanagashi up until last night, I wanted all of that to have never happened. I wonder how many times I'd wished for these 3 past days. This is going beyond copium, bro, right? As long as Reina kept on smiling like this, I think it might just become reality. So I wanted Reina to keep smiling. Keep on smiling. So, Keiichi-kun. Was mochi yesterday. Did you eat them all? Oh my. The vain wish of mine was instantly shattered. My heart began palpitating. The relaxing morning mood soon became frigid. Reina's smile was the same as usual. Her eyes were gentle as usual. Those mochi yesterday. Did you eat them all? Of course she wasn't asking the question at face value. In other words, Reina was asking, did you get the message? She was probably trying to convey that. Keiichi-kun? I was reluctant to give an answer. Reina stopped walking and stared deeply into my eyes. Don't hesitate, Keiichi Maibara. Reina was acting the same as usual, wasn't she? I needed to respond in the usual way. Naturally, of course. But both my throat and my mouth had gone dry, and my lips were stuck together. Hurry and answer, Keiichi. Not that much time has passed. I could still keep the conversation going naturally. I had to say something. I had to say something quickly. Reina playfully mimicked what I had said and finally squeaked something out. Reina's reaction was still normal. It seems that there wasn't as long pause as I had thought. Somehow I finally squeaked out the rest. Delicious! However, my strained efforts neither sullied nor brightened Reina's expression. For a moment I panicked, thinking I had replied incorrectly. But after a few moments, Reina broke into her usual soft smile and giggled with a joyful voice that seemed to echo through the morning air. Being strung along by that laugh, I couldn't help but laugh as well. I see. So did you eat all of them, I wonder? I wonder. My timid smile froze again. Did you make it without swallowing the sewing needle? Was that what she was asking? If I had swallowed it, then I wouldn't be here. Nah, I couldn't finish all of them. There's still some left. I was scared out of my wits, but that's how I played it. Huh? What about the homework to see if you could tell which one Reina made? Yeah, that homework. Oh, was it due today? Yeah, it's due today. Mi-chan will get angry. There's probably a penalty game for you. We both laughed at each other again. To a casual observer, it was quite a typical morning. If I could just let myself believe, then even I'd think it was just a usual good morning routine. But I was certain I wasn't mistaken. There was something unimaginable buried beneath that facade of giggling Reina. Lies. I recalled that unexpected, piercing voice that I could hardly believe came from Reina's mouth. That moment, that image crossed my mind, and I felt a cold sweat trickle down my back. Was it only at that particular time that something evil had possessed Reina? There's probably a penalty game. She's over there sharpening her knife. No, that wasn't wrong. That was still Reina. Oshi-san told me, didn't he? Actually, I looked into her. Before Rugu-san moved away to Himizawa, she was suspended from school. It seems she went through her school building and broke all the windows. Reina had a disorder that normal people didn't. No matter how pleasantly she smiled, that fact would not change. But I couldn't even imagine how she looked as she broke all the glass throughout that school. One thing I knew is that it wasn't something spur of the moment. It was some certain outburst of anger. Then maybe she'd break a pane or two. But she broke all the windows throughout her school. Just imagine going through your own school, breaking the windows with a bat. Swinging full force at each pane of glass, one after another, paying no heed to the flying shards. Your classmates aghast, unable to move from the sudden turn of events. I wonder where she could have found the most windows lined up in a row. Probably the hallway? Walk, wind up. Walk, wind up. It was difficult for me to connect the horrifying image with the Reina smiling at me right now. But I just had to imagine it. Impossible because it was unimaginable. That naive way of thinking no longer worked. The unpleasant, piercing sound of shattered glass, the crunching noise as Reina treads across the broken shards, walking towards me. Reina's classmates going pale as they forget to even breathe. I wondered what they did as Reina came closer, breaking those windows along her path. They earnestly try and bring her to her senses by saying something? Or did they jump at her trying to stop her savagery? Or did they run to the staff room after being directed there by the teachers? Probably none of those. In the face of that blood-curdling sight, of Reina bursting window after window, undoubtedly all they could do was silently clear a path for her. Dumbfounded. Just clearing the path for Reina to continue. It was far too violent of an act for them to seek refuge by looking the other way. That's not to say they were looking the other way. They were doing the only thing they could do to protect themselves. If they had done something differently from the rest, they may have suddenly found themselves as Reina's new target. What would Reina have done to whoever attracted her attention? The answer was obvious. She would have undoubtedly acted according to her whims. Meaning, I would, be the next window. Reina staring into my eyes, shards of glass crunching and crackling under her foot as she drew closer. I was also drawn into her eyes, paralyzed. Then Reina struck me with the bat over and over again, like I was one of those windows. I crouched down on the floor, desperately protecting my head. Reina didn't care whether it was my head or my back. Zealously, she hits me again and again. Oh, that's so cool. The menu's getting like all weird down there because I'm getting dizzy from the bat hitting me. Reina's suddenly a mob boss. Yeah, Reina, level 99 mob boss. Me, level 1 crook. What kind of expression was she making as she was doing this over and over again? I peered up to see. Her expression was so indifferent. It was completely unnerving. It's because no matter how many times she struck me, it didn't make a pleasant sound as the other windows. She struck me continuously, over and over again. The sound Reina wanted didn't come out. Our classmates standing around didn't try and stop her. This is what peak mob boss performance looks like. No. They didn't want to be the next window. Somebody save me. Turning a blind eye unless we're hanging out. But of course, everyone in class scrambled to obtain the highest standardized test scores. They'd gain nothing from saving a cram school tryhard like me. Eventually, there would be a faint sound similar to when you crack open a walnut, or some sort of reddish-black spray would shoot out. Anyway, it wasn't that Reina momentarily lost herself in anger. After forcing myself to breathe and calming down my heart, I recalled what Oshi-san had told me. And in the counselor's medical report, he recorded all the conversations he had had with Reina-san. It shows up, and quite a bit of it at that. Not sure if it's all audio or just mine, but something keeps cutting out. Huh? Not sure. What does she mention? The word Orashiro-sama. About a second or two every 2 minutes. That's really weird. I'm not sure, man. If it helps, the audio is being kind of weird. It was being weird there, but I think it's because Reina was beating her brains in with a baseball bat. Maybe? Following that, Reina was suspended and had regular examinations at the hospital. Then, as Reina was undergoing counseling, she said it over and over. Oyashiro-sama. It seems that Oyashiro-sama she spoke of was like a ghost, appearing in her house every night. Standing over her pillow, looking down at her. There was only one piece of their conversation, so I still couldn't see the big picture, but it was by no means a happy little conversation. Then what was she saying that ghastly incident was a result of her being possessed by Oyashiro-sama? Reading that message. Oh, shit. Sorry, I'm not sure. On my end, everything's going okay. There's nothing that says, like, I'm cutting out. At least on Streamlabs, it doesn't say that anything like that's happening. Sorry, man. Yeah, I got you. Yeah, I'm sorry, I'm not sure. Oh. Up until now, I didn't want to believe in Oyashiro-sama's curse. That's why I wanted to say the mysterious deaths every year happened because of some sort of conspiracy. Every time I talked with Oshi-san, I was more certain that the deaths were a work of men and not of some curse. Except, if it was people participating in these incidents, my friends were somehow deeply connected. If I refused to believe that the curse was real, then I would have believed that those acting in kindness to me were deeply involved in the incidents. Why? How? For what reason? Was everybody? It was much more painful and troublesome than accepting that it was just Oyashiro-sama's curse. In that aftermath, Reina had admitted to her doctor that it was because she was possessed by Oyashiro-sama. I felt a strange sense of relief from that. So that's how it was. There was something like a second side to Reina. She did that because she was possessed by something strange like Oyashiro-sama. It wasn't Reina's fault. Oyashiro-sama was the one to blame. I knew. This was all backwards. Refusing to believe there was a curse, I wanted there to be a human perpetrator. Now that my close friends were the ones under suspicion, I changed my beliefs at my own convenience, saying that it was Oyashiro-sama's curse to blame. Which was better choice? Accepting that Oyashiro-sama's curse exists, or that Reina and the rest of them were deeply involved in the string of mysterious deaths? I didn't want to think about it. If I just didn't think about it, I'd be able to convince myself the same way as always. I wanted to believe that. But that was no longer possible. I had received their message. It was pathetic of me to try and bend the meaning of my own convenience. regardless of my opponent being a human or a curse. I won't let it kill me. As if I would just bend over and give in, for no good reason at all. Keiichi-kun? You've been making a really weird face. Why, I wonder? Inhaling sharply upon hearing Reina's voice, I came back to my senses. Before I'd realized it, we were already at the entrance. Shaking my head a few times, I exorcised all these terrifying thoughts. No matter how I looked at it, there's no way Reina could have done such terrible things. It was like I was trying to placate myself. As I slid the door open, a blackboard eraser loaded with chalk dropped down on my head the moment I stepped in the classroom. The chalk dust went into my eyes, inducing a brief moment of agony.
How befitting for the tyrant Keiichi-san.
Morning, both of you. Keiichi and Reina.
Good morning, Satoko-chan, Rika-chan.
Not quite the mood for it. I didn't really react to Satoko's trap. Satoko braced herself as I passed by, expecting me to attack her. She seemed a bit disappointed as I simply walked by silently.
What's this? How discouraging indeed.
Keiichi doesn't seem back to his usual self yet.
Yeah. Take it easy on him for today, okay?
Suddenly there was a slap down on my shoulder. It hurt a bit. Hey, Kei-chan, did you get enough rest? It was Mion. My mind was full of the stuff about Reina, but Mion was also a party of interest. Remember, Keiichi? That hawkish gaze from yesterday. Yeah, morning. What's with the energetic greeting? Did you eat that mochi I bought you? Because I ate them, that's why I'm like this. Those words were itching to be blurted out. I really just didn't have the appetite. I ate a few, but there were quite a few left over. Huh? What about the homework? Did you have an answer for which one's Reina's?
I can't believe you forget your homework, Keiichi-kun.
Sheesh. We can't help it. Time for your penalty. Flashing a lurid smile, Mion returned to her seat. There was nothing from our exchanges that would cause the classmates to suspect anything was amiss. But of course, anyone listening to our conversation up until this morning wouldn't see anything suspicious. That was why it was so frightening. They acted in a way that, regardless of whatever happened to Keiichi Maibara, no one would ever suspect them. That fact had me terrified. Soon the teacher came. After she asked how I felt and took attendance, another dull, ordinary day began. We're just going to pause real quick. I'm going to go get a drink because my throat is getting dry already. BRB. Shit. Sorry. My bad. The fact that this microphone can mute in two places, and me being me just mutes it twice and then unmutes it once going, all better, right? Yeah. Alright, let's go. The warning yesterday with the mochi was a good indicator of that. No. Calling it a warning was just my habit of understating things. It probably had no meaning beyond stunting my progress and buying themselves some time. Until they had a method of completely erasing me, they were just biding their time. Even though they were keeping me under their thumb with threats, it didn't change the fact that I had knew too much. The chilling sensation on my desk made me recall Satoshi Hojo, the boy who was using the seat until last year when he disappeared. Was he also similar to me? Did he learn something he shouldn't have and was erased? Damn. I won't let them get rid of me so easily. Never. But were they trying to kill me? I've had these contradictory feelings for a while now. Even though I suspected them, I felt I had to cover for them. While all their suspicious behavior, a warning like this just made me seem all the more of an elaborate hoax. No. That's just what I want to believe. Doubting my friends? Covering for them? My life was in danger. Or was it? Actually, I was debating at the wrong point. Given my current situation, these points were something that I would have to be deliberated on a long time ago. But really, Reina and the rest of them? Were they actually aiming to kill me? The little voice inside me continued to torment me with these unreasonable trains of thought. Are you an idiot, Keiichi Maibara? The answer should be obvious. But maybe the sewing needle might have just been an accident, right? Oh yeah, because I keep my sewing needles next to my kitchen. Definitely. Was it the music kicks in? How could you screw up and drop a sewing needle on a piece of mochi? The benefit of doubt can only go so far. For real, for real. The biggest setup to a Vsauce video yet. Both Reina and Mion had acted and behaved suspiciously. But maybe it was also sort of misunderstanding. What kind of misunderstanding? It wasn't just suspicious, it was outright ludicrous, right? Reina just corrected me for lying, and Mion only asked me about what I had for lunch. Reina was standing outside our door eavesdropping for a good hour, you know. She was, probably just waiting for my phone to call the end. For a whole hour? Outside your room? And is it normal to go home afterwards without saying a word? Anything? You heard from Oshi-san, didn't you? About what Reina did to her former school? But at the hospital, she said it was Yashiro-sama's fault. She... Cut it out, Keiichi Maibara. Don't you realize they're out to kill you? I inadvertently burned those words out loud. Hearing myself say it so directly left me dumbfounded for a few moments. Afterwards, I had to look around to check if anyone else heard. My little soliloquy cut a little too close to the truth. Even though I could feel the murderous intent from Rain and the others, part of me somewhere was still trying to deny it. Keiichi calling himself out, right? You know what I'm feeling? It's like, okay, so Reina and Mion are kind of crazy, right? Like, they're both definitely trying to kill us. But I do like how we're getting hints of Keiichi slowly going mad himself. Like, I'm loving this. Rip, he's dead. Yeah, no, I'm thinking so. But I do like where this is, like, kind of indicating that maybe Keiichi... Like, there's no doubt these girls have murderous intent. No doubt, right? I do love, though, how it's, like, leaning into the fact that Keiichi's, like, talking to himself. As in, like, he's kind of becoming insane himself, and I love it. Oh my god. Side effect of ODing on that copium is a split personality disorder, bruh. This late in the game, such hesitation could be fatal. And I knew that. But I was just your average student, a man living his normal, ordinary life. Do you think I could suddenly believe that my friends, who had been happily laughing together with me up until last Sunday, now intended to kill me? Right? You're too soft, Keiichi. Very true, very true. This time, I remembered to keep my voice down so only I could hear it. There was one thing I now understood. I was too soft. I didn't completely understand how dangerous Reina and the rest of them were. No, I wasn't trying to understand. I was too soft for not listening to Oshi-san when he was earnestly showing me the heart of the matter. I didn't listen because I was too busy pretending to be dejected. I didn't comprehend it. I was just running away. I didn't comprehend it, so nobody had the notion to try and kill me. I needed to get rid of such a naive thoughts. As I made that resolution, I heard the bell signifying the end of class. So soon. The day was already over. I didn't recall eating lunch or doing anything in class. My friends were all putting their desks together in the preparation for club activities. Not long ago, I would have probably happily jumped into that circle.
My, Keiichi-san. How rude of you to even think about leaving.
The way Satoko spoke was typical and familiar. It was almost physically hurting me.
Huh? Keiichi-kun, is today not a good day, I wonder? And were we gonna win big together? Oh?
Seeing Reina's expression, but she was really looking forward to the day, was hard to take. Hey Keiichi, maybe Oshi-san is just some enormous jerk trying to separate me from the others by lying. Slap. Trying to explode the weak-minded thinking, I slapped myself in the face.
Keiichi-kun!
Yeah, was Rina really trying to kill me? I wish someone would tell me it was just a hoax. I didn't care if it actually was one or not. I just wanted someone to say it. Yet another weak-willed thought. How did I ever become this naive?
Are you alright? Does your head hurt?
We're closing class early because Keishi's freaking out Reina's about to murder him. Apparently that was how my inner dilemma appeared to Reina.
You're pale. Can you make it home by yourself? Maybe I should accompany you home, I wonder.
No, it's okay. I'm sorry. I can get home by myself. Just have the meeting without me. Upon hearing that I wasn't going to participate in the club meeting, Mion pouted unhappily. Just another school day. Nothing weird going on here. Since Kei-chan was so bent on revenge match, we were even going to play that deduction game before too.
Keiichi-san doesn't have a burning desire for a rematch? How pathetic.
I wouldn't fall for some dumb taunt. Without even a real resort, I just grabbed my bag and I was about to get up. Someone's hand perched itself gently on my head.
Keiichi doesn't seem to be well.
How very unfortunate. It was Rika-chan. She was stretched up as far as she could, doing her best to pat my head with her petite hand. It felt so nice, which made things even harder. Sorry, everybody. I'll see ya. That's all I said as I quickly left the classroom. Keiichi didn't realize he was attending assassination classroom. I managed to make my way to the entrance in that state of mind, took out my shoes, put them on, and went forward. Harden that heart, Kaiichi Maibara. They were, for some unfathomable reason, trying to kill me. They were plotting something dubious, watching my every move. But I couldn't hate them, because weren't they my friends? Part of me lamented the naivete, while another part lamented the fact that I had lost something important by lamenting over it in the first place. It felt like my consciousness was being ripped out of my body. If this is what Oyashiro-sama's curse was like, then it was just too harsh. Hey, Oyashiro-sama, I was wrong for not believing in your curse, but I believe in it now. Completely. Your curse does exist. So seriously, give me a break. I beg you, come on. Dinner was unusually bland. It had no flavor or aroma. The miso soup that normally tantalized my appetite instead tasted like nothing but boiled water. Dad was eating with us that night. It was rare occurrence in this household. When he got into his work, he ate and slept on his own schedule. My dad never cared about time. Since my dad was at the dinner table, either meant he had just reached a good point or take a break, or he was in a slump. So yeah, he just doesn't understand the motivation creators have. Your partnership was just a verbal agreement, wasn't it? If it's so hard to agree on things, why not just end it? I feel like it's an industry with a lot of back scratching, but when it gets in the way of business... I wasn't able to pick out much of my mom and dad's conversation, but I could tell it wasn't very a pleasant topic. That, of course, made the disgusting food even less appealing. Staring listlessly at the exchange between my parents, my mind wandered off with the same thought processing it had been going all day long. Friends close to me. No, they used to be friends, but I could no longer trust them. Right now, I was greatly lacking allies. People I trusted, people I could depend on when push came to shove. There was something I just didn't have. Having just one ally would have been incredibly reassuring in the current hopelessness of the situation I was in. Dad finally showed up now that Reina wasn't around to murder anyone. Yeah. I put down my chopsticks and looked over at my parents, who were still talking about work. The first course of action that came to mind was to tell my parents everything. Currently, there wasn't a single person in Hinamizawa I could trust 100%. That meant only people I could trust were my parents. You think I want to be here when she's around? Did you see what she did with that sign? Yeah, no, our dad... Aw, cute! She's eavesdropping on his phone call! Oh my god, so cute! I'll just let her be. But if I told them everything that had happened until now, would they understand? Reina, for example. Oh boy. That neighborly Reina, who was so diligently in looking in after me, came to get me every day and sometimes brought over a share of what she made. How could I explain that she wanted to kill me? No matter how I explained it, it would probably be difficult for anyone to comprehend. My somewhat eccentric dad wouldn't understand, and my high-strung mom would probably drag me off to a psychiatrist in the blink of an eye. Sadly, that was the amount of trust that existed in our relationship. Even if they did come to understand, what could they possibly do? Oh my god. I'll let her be. Oh, she's screaming ribcage. No, by informing them these unnecessary things, I'd be putting my parents in danger as well. Considering that the victims in the past instance were all often married couples, I couldn't even joke about it. For the entire Maibara family to have an accident... Oops. Oh shit. Just moved. Fucking Streamlabs. Oh my god. Oof. Okay. For the entire Maibara family to have an accident or just to vanish into thin air, it was easily possible in Hinamizawa. What was important was that knowing something unnecessary put you in danger. The most unsettling question was, how did they know that I knew? As long as they didn't know, my parents might not fall victim. That was one way to think about it, I guess. At least it was like that in my case. After I found out, things started to become odd. In other words, it meant the following. As long as my parents didn't know anything, nothing would happen. As long as my parents were here, this house would be safe haven for them. I knew these were just assumptions based on conjecture on top of conjecture. Wanting this house to be a safe haven, that was the pinnacle of my weak-willed method of thinking. I had to concede that it was not completely safe. It was only safer than the outside. I knew that I couldn't rely on my parents. No, I couldn't risk getting my parents involved. Then the only person who would be my ally would be Oishi-san, him and him alone. He was the only person who understood the situation I was in. He didn't care much about my safety, but he was without a doubt passionate about solving this case. How did they know that I knew bro was called eavesdropping? It was a bit frustrating. Oishi-san was basically the whole reason I was in this mess. Now to get out of it, I had to rely on him. Meaning, it was all going according to his devices. It was just my job to look at the appetizing while bobbing in the waves for bait. Then, when the fish started gathering around, Oishi-san would pull up the big haul. It was slightly infuriating, but even that I thought I was the best course of action. So then, what should I do? Patience was the first rule of fishing. Just keep waiting until the fish actually bites. But I wasn't simply bait. There were lots of ways for me to struggle before being devoured. When they struck, I needed to somehow dodge just enough to tag out to Oshi-san. No, question. It was going to be hard. The timing to bring Oshi-san would be difficult. He was in the city, not Hinamizawa, so if I phoned him at that moment in need, it would take him about 30 minutes to just reach me. So I needed to run for those 30 minutes. For example, if we set up a rendezvous point for a dire situation or something, I just have to hide there until Oshi-san arrived. Okay. I can almost see it now. I was still being chased around in the dark by a boogeyman, but now I knew which way to go. I would never have imagined it would be so reassuring. Oh yeah. It would probably be best if I had concealed a weapon for things to get rough. Typically that would call for a switchblade. That wasn't too reassuring for combat. Also, since it was recognized as a weapon by the public, that also wasn't good. Really, when the time comes, a long weapon like a bat would work in my favor. I remember there was a metal bat at school. I could confident that would push came to shove. If I pretended I was practicing my swing, then it wouldn't be suspicious for me to always carry it around. I could go to school early tomorrow and secure it. Just possessing a weapon would be enough to deter them. Also, one more thing. Insurance. It could be something like a note or a memo. I could write down everything that had happened as a sort of journal. In case I suddenly vanished, the journal would be left behind. With my journal in his possession, Oshi-san should be able to avenge my death. I left my parents engrossed in their conversation about work and went back to my room. Not gonna lie, this is pretty reassuring. He's finally taking it seriously and prepping himself for what's to come. True. I tore out a piece of paper from the notebook and made my way to my desk. Last time I wrote a journal was for summer homework in elementary school. In the off chance something bad happened, the police could use my diary as a lead. So I should only write down the facts. How should I start? I jotted down my thoughts as they came. I, Keiichi Maibara, am in fear for my life. It made me laugh nervously. It was a line that showed up often in detective stories. I never even dreamed I would be in the type of situation where I'd have to write it down myself. I do not know why they are after my life. Brana and the others were suspicious, but I had no proof. And that's why I couldn't write anything more. I laughed rudely at myself for writing such a passage draped in mystery. Would the police be able to get a hint from reading this enigmatic message? I could only pray that they would. What I prayed for most, though, was that this journal never needed to play its part. Here, I laughed nervously. It was too simple, so I wrote down one more line I just thought of. The only thing I do know is that it has to do with Oyashiro-sama's curse. Was that too much? They know the truth. Was that too much? I probably shouldn't write more than that. If I wrote anything more, it would seem like I was just delusional. In order to appear to the reader, the person who had written it was in sound mind. I chose not to write anything else at that point. I just needed to add more as I learned more about the truth. I folded the paper and thought about a place to hide it. By hiding it somewhere obvious, there was a chance they would uncover it instead. Oh wait, no. What if his parents were suddenly targeted? Oh my god. On the other hand, if it was too obscure of a location, then there was the risk of nobody finding it at all. In the end, I decided to take the clock off my wall and stick the folded note on the back of it with Scotch tape. After that, I put the clock back into its normal position. Yeah. It didn't look like anything was hidden behind it. Now I needed to set up such that, if anything happens to me, my parents could find it. I looked at it from countless different angles until I was satisfied and made my way downstairs. My parents were still talking about work. It didn't look like they was going to end anytime soon, so I cut in. Sorry to interrupt. I have something I want to talk to you about. I'd never start off a conversation like that before, so my parents were both startled. They stopped talking and turned towards me. What is it, Keiichi? I have a favor to ask of you, so please listen. Just in case, yeah? If it's not urgent, can we do this later? Right now, Mommy and Daddy have something urgent they're talking about. I didn't think their talk was more urgent than mine. In any case, I started my request. Just in case, okay? If I die. Both my parents' eyes went wide as saucers. If I die, I want you to put the clock on my wall in my coffin. If they did that, they'd probably find it. My memoir. Both my parents remained wide-eyed, not moving an inch. I couldn't blame them. I made that clock in shop class and I really like it, so please. What's the matter, Keiji? Did something happen? Mom was finally able to ask me with a questioning gaze. Of course this was a normal response for someone's son suddenly talking about a subject like this. I felt bad about making them worry, but right now I just wanted to think about the clock in my room. With an awkward mood leaving the room in silence, I decided to just go back to my room. I want to get to school early tomorrow, so I'm gonna go to bed. Good night. Saying only that, I left to the living room. I needed to get to school early tomorrow and secure that bat. I should make today the last day I went to school with Reina. As I climbed the stairs, I heard my mom call my name, but I pretended not to hear her. It was something that I could talk about with my parents. If I talked about it, it would only make things more dangerous. The fight that had begun was mine and mine alone. I couldn't rely on anybody. I wouldn't be killed, not when I still knew nothing. Not feeling so hot as the tip we received. Alright, let's see this new tip. View new tips.
Keiichi-kun's has been feeling down lately. Maybe he's in a bad mood.
I wonder. Maybe he's on his period.
Mimi-chan, that's gross.
What do you think? Don't know. Could be that Kei-chan. Maybe. I don't know.
That day Kei-chan was in that car talking to some tubby middle-aged guy, right?
Yeah. No mistake.
That Oishi. He probably fed him something fishy.
He was so serious. Keiichi-kun's face was so pale. You see, you might not know this, but he's actually the messenger for Yashiro-sama.
Huh? What do you mean?
Whenever he shows up, someone is demoned away. No lie.
Oh? Is that so?
The year before last, when Rika-chan's mom drowned, right? Right before that, she was visited by Oishi.
Now that you mention it, it happened before Satoshi-kun transferred out.
Transferred? You're so sweet, Reina.
So this time, he's appeared before Keiichi-kun. So Keiichi-kun's gonna be demoned away too?
An empty silence hung in the air, and then it was suddenly interrupted by loud laughter. Yo, oh, that tip, though. Pretty good progress in that chapter, hell yeah. Oh my god, that tip, though. Them saying that Oishi is the messenger for Yashiro-sama. Oh boy. It was, I don't know if, I might be covering it even if they do show up, but like there's Steam achievements for this game, and when we finished that chapter, I got one saying, you have chosen to pursue the truth. I'm like, what do you mean choice? I don't got a choice right now. Interesting development there, though. Yeah. True. I am super interested. Because, I mean, like I said, we haven't made a choice or anything. We've literally just been reading the story. Which I totally love, don't get me wrong. It's just like, how is there people saying that, like, completionists need to read it more than once? You know what I mean? I'm really excited to see what's gonna happen here and how we're gonna do this. But yeah, super good stuff happening. Yeah, I haven't seen the choice in the game yet. Yeah, right? That's why I was like, just a little bit like, huh? when that achievement like popped up on my screen, because it's like, you've chosen to pursue the truth. Unless it was just like an achievement name that they thought they were being cute with. I don't know. But yeah, so I'm super excited to see how this goes. Yeah. Keiichi wanting the bat. It's gonna be crazy if there's a moment where he's like losing it and he just swings and he takes someone out that's like totally not gonna kill him, you know? That'd be funny. Wonder if the game changes the story in a bit in playthrough 2 or something. Ooh, that's a good, yeah, that's an idea. Kind of like what like Nier does. Where like the game kind of changed as you played it more and more. But yeah, super, super cool. And hey, that was chapter 10, so I mean, if my sources are correct, we only have 2 more chapters to go. Oh my goodness. It just, I don't know. Not to say that stuff's not happening, but it's like, for there only to be like 2 chapters left, I feel like a lot is either gonna happen, or they're gonna cram it all into like the very last chapter, and it's gonna be crazy. I'm not sure. So I know enough to know that there, like, yes, there's more than one Higurashi book. Ayo! I know there's more than one Higurashi book, but they do kind of all have an ending, because when you get to the next book, the like timeline starts over. Keiichi comes at Reina with a bat, only to find out she's combat trained and ready to fight back. Oh, Jesus Christ. Imagine, though. I know there is, like, some... it's an older game. I think it was, like, on the first DS or something. And, of course, it was only in Japan, of course. But there is a Higurashi fighting game, from what... if I understand it right. I don't think it was fan-made. I think it's an actual licensed, like, Higurashi fighting game. So, I mean, facts. Reina is ready to take him out. But yeah, so we're gonna wrap it up there for today. I hope I'll see everybody tomorrow for our first movie night. I am excited. We're just doing that at 5 p.m. Central Standard Time. Tomorrow, here, this channel. Alright. So other than that, I hope everyone has a good day. Reina's signature weapon is the needle. Bruh. Now her signature weapon is that machete or whatever she had when we were dumpster diving. Yeah. So I hope everyone has a good day, good evening. Bioweapon sitting over that supply of copium, bruh. I'll see you guys tomorrow though, okay? Thanks for coming. Okay. The way I see it, his consciousness returns to the beginning, but he doesn't remember anything until it's too late. True. Yeah, I don't think anybody remembers anything. That'd be interesting. But yeah. So we'll learn more as we go. We'll read the next book and we'll be like, see you next time. Yeah! Bye-bye.